Imagine, a podcast series by Imagine Theatre.
Yes, hello again and welcome to episode 113 of this podcast series, and this time we're at the Royal Spa Centre in Leamington Spa for one of many pre-Panto photo shoots.
For more information, go to their website at www.imaginetheatre.co.uk.
So in the last episode we caught up with the entertainer, the former children's television presenter and Panto legend Bobby Bennett. And don't forget that episode is still available to download. So far in the series we've had a variety of guests, from celebrities and backstage team members to practitioners and academics. We've discussed specific Panto titles, talked about how pantomime is produced, its history and its future. So check them out where you normally get your podcast from, and while you're there, don't forget to subscribe to the series so you don't miss any future episodes. So again, here we are at the Royal Spa Centre in Leamington Spa to meet some cast members from Imagine's Pantos across the UK at one of the many photo shoots ahead of the new season. Playing the genie in Dartford for Imagine this Christmas is the backing vocalist for the likes of Tina Turner, Elton John and Sting, a former X Factor contestant and actor who made his West End debut at the age of 8 years old. Anton Stephans, how are you?
I'm really well, thank you very much. How are you? Nice to see you.
Tell me a little bit about that sort of childhood then, because 8 years old, making your stage and West End debut. Were you always a performer?
I think so. Actually, my sister was the performer, and I tagged along to an audition, and she didn't get it and I did. And that's how it went.
Has she forgiven you?
Yeah, I think she's a very successful director. Yes, I think she's found her own niche. She bosses actors about now.
Do you remember going to see Panto as a kid?
Yes, my very first Panto. I can't remember what it was called, but I remember going to see it, and I remembered all the lights and how sparkly that world was, and yeah, I loved it. I really did. And it must have been about 6 or 7.
So from performing as a child and from seeing Panto as a child, how did that progression into becoming a performer happen?
My becoming a performer happened when I went to go and see something very, very serious. I went to go and see Mother Courage with Judi Dench in it, and I loved it at the National. I really loved it. That's when I was seriously knew I wanted to. Hearing music and transporting people has been the kind of the thing that's interests me a great deal, taking people out of one space and into another.
And you've done so many different things over the years.
For that too.
Yeah, but not everybody is able to do that. So do you see yourself first and foremost as an actor, as a singer, or just an all-rounder?
I'm an actor who sings. So I think I act through song. Right. I think that's where I feel happiest in telling a story. But I've done lots of other things. I mean, I've done things to keep the lights on and keep the mortgage paid, and I've done them also because I really loved them. I've been interested in those things. I've not done anything that's really lucky. There have been few jobs in my career, in my life, that I've not really wanted to do, and whether that's being paid 10 pence to do it, or much more. The same amount of energy and joy has gone into those things. So I've been thinking about that a lot recently.
So it's a labour of love.
I love my job.
Yeah.
It's something it's funny. I get producers who, even if it's like a tough production, and they always ask me, "How are you?" And I went, "I love my job. I might hate everything that's going on around, but I really love my job. I love the art of creating something, and doing Panto. This is only my second one, and I'm loving it."
While the theatre stuff is going on, how did you become a backing singer or a singer working with the likes of Elton John and the people I mentioned?
This is an interesting story because I was working at a studio in Eastbourne called ICC Studios. It was International Christian Communications, and I was packing tapes. Do you remember when you had taped cassettes? And CDs had only just come out. And I had the summer job, and I was in this little box room packing boxes, but it was so hot. And down there, the studio was in a mews. I'm not sure if it's there anymore, but the studio was in a mews, and it's really hot in Eastbourne in the summer. And so I had the window open. And if you know me, I've got quite a big voice. And I had my Walkman. Oh, do you remember Walkmans? I had a yellow Walkman on, and I was just singing along to something. I didn't remember what I was singing to. I was singing along to something, and I was packing these tapes, and then I had this banging on the door, and it was Cliff Richard. He went, "Shut up!" He told me to shut up, and then I was terrified. Of course, I went, "Oh no, I've really upset someone." And then he went, "Shut up, come with me." And so I went downstairs. Helen Shapiro, if anyone remembers Helen Shapiro, she was making a gospel album at the time. And so I got to sing on that, and that's how it started. And I literally just got introduced to different people from that moment. So
you're in the right place at the right time.
It really was that. Yeah. And I was at a party. I don't know if I should tell you this. I don't think I've told many people.
Well, you've got to now.
It's the early 90s. And I was at a party in a very posh part, Weybridge. It's a really posh party. And remember, I'm actually just a Sussex boy. Do you know what I mean? I try to blag it that, but I think I was still putting cardboard in the bottom of my shoes because they had holes in it. But because I was around all these really wealthy and successful people, and I went to this party and I got chatting to when we had a few drinks. I would always sing by the piano because that's how I grew up anyway. My sisters played the piano. We all played music. So I was singing around the piano, and then I had more drinks. I fell underneath the piano with someone who happened to be Tina Turner.
Wow.
I was underneath. Well, we were just lounging about, and there were lots of other big names there. They were like, we had George Michael, who I went on to work with. Everybody was there, and I was just this guy. I still am that guy. And then she was talking about Simon Fuller was around at the time, and they were talking about doing the tour of the GoldenEye tour. So I was like, okay. They said, and I gave them my number, my old Eastbourne family number. And I hadn't heard back. I was excited at the time. I thought maybe someone will call me. But no one did for ages and ages and ages. Then I got this call, and my mum answered the phone. And my mum doesn't know who people are. Like, she doesn't know if she likes the music and she likes all that, but she doesn't know who people are, or their names, and she went, "There's a Tina Turner on the phone." I was like, "Give me that phone!" I was like, get out. I went, "Hi, that too, kind of cool. Hi, nice to hear from you." I'm sweating. And she said she was in London, and would I come up to London? And I said, yeah, I did. And it was around the same time as the Spice Girls were being at the height of their fame. Yeah. And we went into Covent Garden, we bought some Buffalo boots together. It was just an extraordinary moment.
Linking back to Simon Fuller as well, of course. But
yes.
How did the X Factor come about then? And overall, was that a good experience for you? You certainly got a lot of profile.
I got a great deal of profile, and it was an interesting time. I think I've grown in the last few years to appreciate it much more than I did at the time. At the time, it was a machine, So, and it was the kind of machine where somebody like me should have really flourished, I think, but it also had a lot of cynicism in it, and I think the cynicism was the thing that I reacted to, because I'm quite a happy person, generally. I was in Devon with family over Christmas, and Sunita texts me over Christmas to say, hey baby, happy Christmas, what are you doing? And I said, I'm thinking of I think I might do the X Factor. And she went, no way. And then I hadn't heard for a while, and I was on the beach down there. It's the most beautiful beach in Croy. And I was on the beach down there, and I'm somebody who's quite spiritual, so I pray, my faith. So I was just praying about it, and I just had a really strong feeling that I should do it. And then I had a weird dream that I was walking along a cliff, and something just said, just keep going, have faith, and I did. And I thought I woke up from the dream going, oh. So and then I got a call. Spookily enough, I got a call from one of the team at ITV saying, would I like to come in and meet them? And I was like, it's clearly a thing. And so I went in and met them, and Barney Anderson is lovely there, really, really lovely man. I went in and I met him, and I walked out onto that stage, and I just told a truth. My very first song was I Am Changing, and I walked out and told a truth.
Pressure?
There was more pressure behind the scenes, because I'm an actor and a singer. I've been on them in the West End and Broadway, and I'd done stuff before. So going out and doing a show where, it wasn't 8 shows a week. It's 8 shows a week. You need to be an athlete to do it. It's a discipline. So going out to sing on a Saturday night, that was like any gig that I'd ever done. It was like, it was the pressures behind the scenes that were much more difficult to navigate. But I look back on it with real gratitude, because a lot of my work that's happened around the world. I mean, I've been to 62 countries. Wow. The show gets syndicated. I mean, people in Mongolia have seen the show. Yeah. And it was one stage when I was looking at, there's this thing that tells you who, where your, I've got fans in quotations, but where your supporters and fans are. And when looking at people in Mongolia being interested, I was like, that's nuts.
And the great thing about it is that, many of the songs that you've done are still up there on YouTube, so people can still look at them now. Right. So let's go back to Panto then, because only your second year, you're playing the genie this year.
It is.
How much fun is it?
I love it. I particularly, and this is going to sound... it's going to sound cheesy because I'm doing the podcast for Imagine, right? So it's going to sound cheesy, but it's real. It's the team. I think every production is something I've learned. Every production you do, it starts from the top. Everything starts from the top. And it's such a great team. They're warm and generous and funny and caring, and they care. They care about quality. Yeah. So it's not just this thing that they throw out every year. It feels like people really care about it, and you can see that people really care about it. And when I was terrified to do Panto, I had no idea, because it's a whole different thing. Yeah. But I got lots of people to be grateful for. We had Vernon Kay. Yeah. And he had done it, and then I think he'd won an award his first year. Yeah. And Lavoie, they really gave me some pointers on how to do Panto, because that's a different skill set. So,
and the genie is a great character, though, isn't it? You can have a lot of fun with that.
Mine was a Jamaican last year. I am the genie of the lamp. I am here to rock your world. I loved it. It was so much fun.
Well, listen, we wish you all the very best with the Christmas period this year. Have a great run as well. Anton, thank you so much for your time.
Oh, huge pleasure. Thank you very much. Come see us.
Back at the Victoria Theatre in Halifax in Beauty and the Beast, playing Dame Madeline Marzipan this year is the man you may have seen in Coronation Street, in Emmerdale or Hollyoaks. He's appeared extensively on stage in this country and on Broadway, the actor, writer and director Andrew Pollard. How are you?
I'm very well. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you. Of course, you've been writing pantos for a long time, appearing in pantos for a long time. What's the attraction for you?
It's that thing, is it? It stems from being a kid. It was just that magical thing when I was a kid. I only went to see amateur pantos, and my grandparents did amateur pantos, and then I joined amateur group where I lived. And I just found it a magical world, and I was hooked from then on in. That brilliant mix of comedy and spectacle and story. Yeah, just love it.
Always played Dame?
No, I've switched up every now and then. When I first started out of drama school at Bristol Old Vic, I went to Oldham to work with Eric. Eric was playing Dame, Eric Potts, and I was a baddie for 2 years. Yeah, then graduated to Ugly Sisters and then Dame. Yeah.
Anybody who's ever played Dame will say there's nothing better than playing the dame on stage. You know, the comic can have some interaction with the audience, the baddie can have a certain amount of interaction with the audience, but the dame is in control of all that, really.
Yeah, I think that. I mean, the dame is the matriarch, isn't she? And I think it's that brilliant conduit between audience and the stage. And it's the warmth. You bring that warmth, and you make sure the kids feel safe with you, and that they kind of love you. But also, you can be really cheeky. I love that when you sort of take the Mickey out of the baddie and those kind of things, and the fantastic costumes. I mean, you steal the show just walking on, don't you? You know, it's half the work's done for you.
Yeah.
But I love that aspect of it.
So how many have you written now?
Over the years or this year?
Over the years.
It must be a couple of hundred or so now. Yeah, I've been doing it for quite a long time. And I was at Greenwich for 15 years doing Dame and writing and directing. And yeah, I've written for lots of Salisbury Playhouse and Watford Palace and Huddersfield, Lawrence Batley, so lots over the years. Yeah.
Now, a lot of people who aren't involved in Panto might think, well, how on earth could you write over 100, because there are only 10 or 15 titles? But of course, and we say this so often, every Panto has to be unique for the venue and the people watching it at that time, doesn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, some of the routines can be the same, but the jokes you swap up because of things that happened that year, things going on, or new jokes just come along. And I love writing new routines, trying to come up with something a little bit different. I think it's difficult, it's really hard. I think that's why people do rely on those old ones that work, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I love kind of swapping that up. And also, a few that I've written have been actor muso pantos, so that has its own different sort of style to it as well. Nowadays, a lot of the rep pantos that I write, there's no chorus. It's just the actors who are working really hard. So everything's got a different challenge to it, and that's what keeps it fresh. It's great.
And local references as well, of course, because if you want to poke fun at a local councillor or a local road or whatever, that audience thinks that's unique for me.
Yeah, exactly, and it makes it part of that community as well. I think that's the really important thing, that people often feel like it's their show, they own it, they come back, maybe there's some of the same actors who they grow to love, but it is that thing, you create it, and often, the opening scene might be set in that place, so that it does have that feeling of belonging. Yeah.
The interesting thing as well is that over time we've seen some pantomime titles disappear altogether. I'm thinking of shows that are very rarely done anymore, Robinson Crusoe and Sinbad or whatever. Yeah. And then we see others come from nowhere. Beauty and the Beast is one of those, particularly since Disney did the animated feature, which always helps, and in recent years Goldilocks as well. That's great though, because it keeps it fresh, doesn't it?
Exactly, yeah. And I guess for some kids, some people might have seen a Beauty and the Beast years ago if they're a bit older, but for some other kids it's a fresh story for Panto. I mean, I know Disney now is the thing that they know all the stories from, and that has its challenges, I think, with Beauty and the Beast and things like that, to make it sort of like that, but make it your own and make it a very kind of Panto style. But yeah, I love that. And with at Greenwich, because the audience just trusted us, we were able to do, so we did Robinson Crusoe, we did the Queen of Hearts, Puss in Boots that doesn't get, so it was a great joy to be able to kind of visit those that don't often get done anymore. But I just love that when a new title comes back. Yeah.
Tell us about your dame then. What sort of character is she?
Well, I guess for me, my comedy heroes were Eric Morecambe and Eric Sykes and Laurel and Hardy and all that. I was kind of old before my time, really, and I just loved all that old variety stuff. So for me, it's a slight mix between a sort of campy character, but that kind of bloke in a frock. Yeah. So I kind of tread that line. I'm not sort of overly feminine. And I like wearing the flat boots. I don't really wear heels very often. And I've got the glasses, which is very Eric Morecambe-y. So it's a combination of those, but hopefully with a lot of warmth.
That's my sort of dame, I have to say, because I think you've got to bring, you mentioned the matriarch at the very beginning of this chat, but it's the warmth, it's the, kids have got to look at you as an auntie or a gran or whatever, but you can have a bit of fun with the men as well. Yeah. You're everybody's friend.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's the job, isn't it? You are, like you say, it is principally that warmth that you bring, and the comedy, of course. Yeah. But I think it's such a great role. It's such a strong role. I mean, often now you get, I guess, in bigger pantos, the dame is slightly sidelined because of the bigger stars. But in Imagine, I think a lot of the time that the Dame is front and centre, which is great for me. Yeah. But it's a lovely thing to see that, which doesn't always happen in some of the bigger shows.
Yeah, it's a very fine balance that you have to get as well, isn't it? Between driving the story on and introducing celebrity cast members and so on, because for the kids, they don't really care who's in it. They want the story, don't they?
Yeah, and I think often, you abandon the story at your peril, really, because it's there to help you. Like you say, it drives the show. Yeah. And kids believe in it, and they should do. I mean, they kind of know this, silliness going on. But yeah, that when I always think back to what I loved, and the story was everything. That moment of in Jack the Beanstalk waiting to see the giant, or that build up, and seeing evil trounced. It's so ancient, isn't it? It's so in our DNA, these stories, and I think people love them every year because it's in us. We just love that storytelling element.
And you're back for a second year in what is a beautiful theatre.
Oh, it's gorgeous, yeah, the Victoria, Halifax. Weirdly, that was my very first professional panto. I did Ugly Sister there before I went to drama school. I went to drama school, I was quite late when I was 30. So I did 2 years at Halifax. And it was my first professional pantos there, playing Uglies. And then I did Dame. I was a bit too young for that then, but I had to go, Mm-hmm. And so it's lovely to be back. And I live 20 minutes away, so it's great. Wow. In my own bed for Christmas for the first time in about 20 years, so it's fantastic.
And it's a beautiful part of West Yorkshire, and the audiences love the pantos there, don't they?
Yeah, I think there's that thing, isn't it, with the North, that we do love that. We do love pantos, we do love that comedy element, that sort of broad slapstick, and that's, for me, that was my tradition. Norman Evans, all those people that I've seen on old films when I was a kid, and repeatedly on YouTube now, and I try and bring a bit of that to it. You think you're treading in those footsteps, and I love bringing elements of that in a certain way. You say a line or do a certain thing. So yeah, and it is last year it was such a great audience, very welcoming, very vocal, and a beautiful theatre.
Well, listen, have a fabulous Christmas and a fabulous run, and thank you so much for talking to us, Andrew.
Absolute pleasure. Nice to meet you.
And finally, she's appeared on stage in everything from Les Mis to Macbeth, Oliver to The Wizard of Oz, and of course you may have seen her on television in various roles from Emmerdale to Still Open All Hours, or in movies like Les Mis and The In-Betweeners. This Yorkshire lass is home for Christmas in Beauty and the Beast at the Victoria Theatre in Halifax. Cathy Breeze, how are you?
I'm good. I'm really, really good.
Tell us a bit about you and your background, first of all. Do you remember going to see Panto as a kid?
Yeah, we used to go over to Bradford to see Panto, and I always enjoyed it. Always enjoyed the music. Great times.
Yeah.
Lovely.
At the Alhambra?
At the Alhambra, yes.
Yeah, beautiful theatre as well.
It is a beautiful theatre.
So, at that time, what struck you about Panto? What did you like about it when you first saw it as a child?
I think it was just magical. The costumes, the set. It was just a way to escape. I mean, obviously I didn't think that at the time, but obviously, it's just a wonderful story and happy ending, and everybody's happy, and it was great.
And so many kids get inspired either to perform, or if not to perform, to go to theatre for the rest of their lives. Is that one of the first things that inspired you to perform?
Yeah, I think it definitely made me think, I'd like to have a go at doing that. That, and we used to have quite a good teacher at primary school and middle school who did drama and music, and the first thing that I ever did was Huckleberry Finn in Tom Sawyer. Mm-hmm. And I really got the bug when, obviously, Huckleberry Finn has no parents, he's an orphan, and walking through the audience to go when everybody's been reunited with their family at the end, and Huckleberry Finn walks away, and everybody went, oh. And then I thought, I quite like that. Quite like that attention.
So what happened then after that? So how did the kid who enjoyed performing actually become a professional actor?
I used to be part of Leeds Children's Theatre, which is one of the oldest children's theatres in the country, and so I did that. Then I went to Park Lane College and did A-levels and did drama as one of my subjects, and then I went to drama school and went to a place called Drama Centre in London, and did a 3-year course, and that was it. And my dad used to sing in clubs, so I suppose I'd always had that sort of singing aspect as well. But I've always liked to play character parts, I've never been the beauty or, and the musicals that I've been in are what I'd call the dirty musicals, the ones where you have to have blacked out teeth and funny old rags and stuff like that.
Madame Thénardier, for instance.
Yeah, Madame Thénardier was a great part.
What a great role.
Oh, it was wonderful. The thing is, as well, you get to be quite horrible, you get to have a good old sing, and then you get really good claps at the end because you are the light relief, even if it is a little bit dark.
Well, in a strange sort of way, the couple are, in fact, pantomime baddies, aren't they?
They are, definitely.
So what an incredible career you've had so far, doing all these various different things. But has Panto been a thread throughout your career? Have you always performed in Panto?
I haven't always... I've performed in musicals. I've done 4 Pantos, and I've done a Christmas show, The Wizard of Oz at Birmingham, playing the Wicked Witch. But I haven't done enough Pantos, really, so it's great to be doing Halifax this year and playing a different type of character, because I usually play comedy fairy. So it's nice to be playing Professor Pottage with a little bit quirky and funny, and but still character. So it has had an important part in my life, sort of sporadically, but more musical theatre, I suppose. But then when I had my child, my girl, I obviously couldn't go on tour anymore, so I've sort of moved more into telly and film. But recently I've started to get back into musical theatre, so I'm looking forward to doing the Panto.
And in many ways, the TV work that you've done and Panto are polar opposite, because you're performing to one camera maybe and getting no feedback at all, whereas in Panto you're getting that immediate interaction, which is lovely, isn't it?
Yeah, it's what in actual fact it's what I've missed, the immediacy, the rounds of applause at the end, the reaction, the laughs. I've missed that, and I've missed also, I think, the routine, and the routine of doing it. Because, I mean, if you're a day player on TV, or you sort of go in and you do maybe a week on something, that's it. Whereas it's nice to do a little run to get to actually bed the character in, so I like the routine of it as well. I've missed the theatre, really. Yeah,
and I mean, obviously musical theatre is pretty gruelling, but Panto, 2 shows a day, 6 days a week, can be pretty gruelling as well. But it's almost, you don't feel that until the end of the run, do you? Because it's so much fun doing it.
Yeah, I mean, the kids' shows are great. That sort of like lifts you up. And I mean, 2 shows a day is not as bad as 3 shows a day. And in some pantos, you have to do 3 shows a day, which is really grueling. But 2 shows a day is doable. You just have to look after yourself as well.
So it's nice to be at home as well, I suppose. It's commutable, isn't it?
It is commutable. I will stay over sometimes for Tech Week, press night probably, because I want to give it my all. I don't want to be tired. I want to have a right good bash at it, good. Yeah.
And the other thing about Panto is, a lot of people who go and see a Panto probably don't realise that it's really important that each Panto is individual and unique for that theatre and that audience. And so your West Yorkshire background is going to help in that respect, isn't it?
Yeah. I think I seem to all... The only other Panto that I ever did in a different accent was I did a West Country one, which was a little bit of... it was... I can't remember, Jack and the Beanstalk, and I was a sort of like fairy from the herb garden type character, and I did it in a West Country accent, a bit Charlie Dimmock.
Oh, yeah.
But the rest of the time I've always sort of used my Yorkshire accent. I did Doncaster a couple of years ago, and I played Fairy Reetgood, so I sort of play on the Yorkshire a bit. But with this character, it's going to not be as Yorkshire, I imagine.
But I mean, it's a full character, isn't it? It's a comedy character as well.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
The beauty of Panto is that you can put everything in there and some. There are no boundaries, really, are there, with your characterisation?
No, you can be as big as you want.
In fact, the bigger the better.
The bigger the better. And you've got to play and enjoy yourself and change it around a bit every night, every day.
Yeah, and the other thing, compared to TV perhaps, especially if you're going into a programme and only doing a week's run, there's no sort of company spirit in a way, in the same way as theatre, whereas you're working very closely with all sorts of people from different backgrounds, Panto brings together magicians, actors, dancers, singers, jugglers, whatever, and that's lovely, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it really is a form of variety, and I think that's where I sort of come from that. I mean, my dad used to sing in clubs, and you know, if he had mates around or whatever, he'd always go, give us a song, you know, so you know, I was brought
Did he ever do Panto?
No, he never did.
He should have done.
No, he never did Panto. He never. He you know, he was a good singer, but I don't know about acting. I don't know. He probably wouldn't want to make himself look foolish. You know, I don't mind.
Well, listen, you've got a fabulous cast at Victoria in Halifax this year. It should be an amazing show. Looking forward to seeing it. Cathy, thank you so much for talking to us.
Thank you.
And that's it for now. Don't forget to subscribe through your favourite podcast app, and make sure you join me, Martin Ballard, next time for episode 114, when I'll be chatting to entertainment legend Anita Harris.
Thank you for listening to the latest edition of Just Imagine, the podcast series from Imagine Theatre. And you can find out more by going to www.imaginetheatre.co.uk.